been home for 3 weeks, as I mentioned in my last video, and I've had some time to think about getting off the trail. And as you know, if you've watched me through my whole adventure, it was a really tough decision to stop. I wanted nothing more than to be in the minority that actually finished the trail in 1 year, and I had to really get my head around the fact that that wasn't going to happen for me, particularly because I had some gaps up in Vermont and New Hampshire and a little tiny bit in Maine that I can't do till next summer just because of the weather. So looking at the odds, you know, 3 out of 4 people don't finish, and I didn't want to be one of them, but I am in the majority. And I want to talk about the reasons that people do get off the trail. Lots of times they run out of money, and I did meet some people who are really hiking on a shoestring and just ran out of money and couldn't keep going. People obviously get off because of injuries. Sometimes they're able to get back on once they heal, but lots of times they take such a time penalty that they just can't get done in 12 months. Sometimes it's just mindset. We had, I think, the wettest year on record, and that sucks, to be honest. It's just not fun to be wet all the time, and my personal tolerance is probably about 3 days of being wet. I could handle the rain, I could handle getting up, packing up a wet tent and all that, but after about 3 days, I was like, just get me to a hostel, get me dry. If I could get a shower, do my laundry, dry my clothes, I didn't care if I was only dry for 12 hours. It would just kind of clear up my head enough that I could get back out there in the rain. So things like weather and being wet can be a problem and just really, you know, destroy motivation for some folks. Family issues are something that you just can't control, and I had a couple of those. And my mom had heart surgery in the middle of the summer, and that was totally unexpected. It really threw me for a loop, and I'm just thankful that she's still here with us. Things went well, and she's doing well, so that's a blessing, and it was a blessing that I was able to get off the trail and go spend time with her. But that kind of thing happens, and it can derail a thru hike. Let's see, what else? Not having fun. Some people get out there and they just find out that the trail is not what they expected. You know, they may romanticize what it's like and suddenly find out that it is a hard thing to do. And honestly, for me, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I know not everybody says that. Some people go out there and they just fly down the trail, but that's not me. It was a hard endeavor for me physically and mentally. And I know some people get to the point where they're just like, it's not worth it to me. Thankfully, I didn't feel that way. I had certainly my up and down days, but I was always glad to be on the trail. So I just didn't want to quit because I was really enjoying it. And then, you know, sometimes it's just time to go home. I had in my mind that I would finish, started April 1st, and I thought I would finish by late September. And because I was so slow, because I did have health issues, I had foot issues, I had family issues, had to get off the trail, I was way behind. I was hiking slow, and I just wasn't getting there, but I was determined to try to finish. So I did get to Katahdin. Yay, I got the shirt. So I flipped back and started filling in my gaps right away, as you would know if you've been watching my videos. But some mindset issues started to creep in, particularly in Vermont, where first time ever that I actually, had hiked a couple miles in and turned around and hiked back out because I was not feeling safe. So that happened, and I filled in a few more gaps. Then I had family obligations. I had promised my daughter that I would be home for her birthday, and I was for a weekend, and then went back out to keep filling in gaps. And then Thanksgiving was looming, and some people can hike right through the holidays, but that was important to me to be home for the holidays. And at the same time, my husband was having some medical issues, and he needed to have some minor surgery and some other procedures, and I wanted to be here for him as well. So when I sat down and really thought about it, I thought, no matter how important my thru-hike goal is to me, family is more important, and I will do anything for them. So coupling that with being so slow, being so far behind, I know if I had time, if I could have hiked through Christmas, I would have finished. But I had to make that decision in terms of not just what's best for me and my dream, but for my family. So that's why I pushed pause on my thru hike pretty close to around 1,800 miles in. So most people who quit, I know, stop a lot earlier than that, unless it's an injury. And I don't want to say that I quit. I really think of it as pushing pause on hiking the whole trail, because I'm planning on getting back out hopefully in late February, early March, and filling in the gaps that I have the last little bit in Maryland and Pennsylvania, and then hopefully in the summertime, even though I'll be past the 1 year mark, getting back up to New England to do that stretch. But anyway, that's my story, and I know that a lot of you are dreaming of thru hiking. Some of you watching probably have already thru hiked, and I'd love to hear from you some of the challenges that you've had, that you can just put those down in the comments to share them. And if you are thinking of thru hiking in the future, there's a lot of lessons learned there. So I'd be happy to talk more about some of those if you're interested, but certainly it's not an easy thing to do. I would definitely not romanticize it. It is hard, but also the most amazing adventure that I have ever been on. I have so many wonderful memories, and I wake up every morning and miss being on the trail. And I get on Facebook groups for the class of 18, and I look and see other people that are still out there, and I'm like, man, I wish I could be. But it's just not in the cards for me right now, but definitely I will be getting back. And as I mentioned before, I will be doing some videos in the interim to kind of fill you in on gear choices, do gear reviews, talk about mindset, all of those kind of things. And then certainly I'll be bringing you along when I get back on the trail. So one of the things I've been working on since I got home was updating my blog. And I thought while I was out on the trail that my videos were actually automatically posting to my blog, but they weren't. They were just going into WordPress's drafts. So now those are all up on my blog at joyfulrambler.com. You can watch them all there, as well as on YouTube. And I will also be doing some written posts and providing links to hiking resources and that sort of thing. So if you want to get a little more Joyful Rambler, if you are a Joyful Rambler in your own heart, then I would encourage you to take a stop at my blog. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Take care.